founder, Patrice Cullors, has said in multiple interviews that the leaders of Black Lives Matter are, quote, trained Marxists. But historian Phil Magnus says it's disturbing and strange to see Marxism championing racial equality, since Karl Marx himself, the father of communism, held strikingly racist views.
He has letters that are filled with dozens of examples of he uses the N-word disparagingly, talks about blacks as if they are inferior.
Magnus pointed out a specific example. In a letter to his good friend Frederick Engels, Marx talks in a degrading manner about a man named Ferdinand Lassalle. The sheer gluttony and wanton lechery of this idealist, as the shape of his head and the way his Negroes also testify that he was descended from the Negroes, unless his mother or his grandmother interbred with the N-word. And that's just one of multiple examples.
So to see him as kind of repurposed and maybe glossed over and turned into this hero of a movement that genuinely cares about racial equality is disturbing.
And yet the very group that says it's working towards a more racially just America has Marx's communist sickle and hammer behind them, perhaps without awareness of what that symbol indicates, since most of the ideas attached to it seem appealing. But those ideas have never been practiced successfully. History has proven time and time again that successfully practicing communism never eventuated. A notable historical lesson being the Russian Revolution of 1917, which was an uprising by the people to overthrow a disliked Tsar.
But what happened over the course of that revolution is the Leninists, who were the hardcore Marxian faction, the claimed successors to Karl Marx in Lenin's own terms, gradually moved into power, and they started shutting out other groups, including not only conservatives and opposition groups, but other competing socialist factions.
Yet some are still lured in by communism's deceptive ideology.
People here understand communism and what that actually means. And it is not totalitarian, it is not authoritarian.
Perhaps some are not as familiar with the dark side of Marx. Once a devout Christian, Marx then turned against the Creator. In his poem The Fiddler, Marx wrote, "Till hearts bewitch, till senses reel, with Satan I have struck my deal. He chalks the signs, beats time for me, I play the death march fast and free." And even today, the world still sees that horrific bloodbath play out in communist-influenced regimes. In Venezuela, famine is rampant. In China, citizens are brutally persecuted for their faith, and freedom of belief and freedom of expression are forcibly suppressed. Melina Weisskopf, NTV News.
St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City is in a tough situation. Most of the church's income is from people visiting the church and making donations. But without tourists and office workers in the area, they're having a hard time covering costs. Our reporter Kevin Hogan spoke with the church's rector